Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show is all about a little well-known cat called Primrose, as she is just not wanting to leave me alone, so you all get a little kitty, if you're watching the video, that is. If you're watching the audio, I'm sorry, you do not get to see the kitty at all, as she just will not go away from me. But today, so it's about Magic the Gathering, little card game. So today we brought on none other than an awesome cosplayer slash Twitch streamer, Zabracus, aka Whitney, aka Zab, and we talked a lot about her start in cosplay, her start in Magic and D&D, and she also has a D&D channel as well too on Twitch, which I did not know that. That's awesome. So we discussed that, and it was just a really fun time, really cool time talking with her. Before we get into that interview, got a little bit of announcements out of the way. This podcast can be found on the following: on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. Oh, and Amazon Music. If you want to help support the show in any way possible, you can help support us on patreon.com/magicwithzuby. And you can find me on Twitter at Magic with Zuby, on Instagram at magic_with_Zuby. And you can email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com. This freaking cat will not leave me alone. We are also newly sponsored by cardsphere.com, the best place to buy, trade, and sell your Magic singles and sealed product. Oh my gosh, this cat. And then we've just got one other quick ad to get out of the way, and then we will get to the interview. Stop it, cat! Oh my gosh. And we'll get on to the interview with Zabracus. Yes, I'm keeping this live. I'm not editing it. And that is how you beat the latest standard meta with Abzan.
Ugh, it feels like there's no Magic content out there for someone like me. Someone who doesn't want to be competitive. Someone who is...
Who is a normie?
Yeah, exactly! A normie!
Well, have I got the show for you? The all-new Magic for Normies show.
Hi, I'm Pixie.
And I'm Zuby.
Together, we host the all-new
Magic for Normies.
It is the Magic the Gathering show for all your normie needs. We don't care what deck got into the top 8 or what deck is winning. We care about having fun playing Magic.
That's right, Pixie. You can watch us on Pixie's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/PixieKittenPlays and catch the VOD on our YouTube channel, Pixie Kitten Plays. If audio is your thing, you can find episodes on the Magic with Zuby RSS feed. Magic for Normies. So, hey, Zuby here, and I have got the awesome Zabracus, aka Whitney, or Zab, or however you want to... I guess, what's sort of your nickname? Is it Zab, or...
I guess my nickname would be Zab, yeah.
Zab? Okay, cool. It's my nickname Zuby. I've had that nickname forever.
Z's Unite.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So how are you doing? Oh, I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I made it myself, actually.
Oh, really? Really?
Well, designed it. I mean, I did not pick the whatever.
Print it out and all that.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I just trying to get cozy.
No, it's all right.
Question: How am I? I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm looking forward to work after tomorrow because I have I'm taking off like 12 days.
Oh, nice.
And
so vacation.
Oh yeah, and AKA it's gonna be a staycation. I'm gonna stay home, play a lot of video games, and not do much. Maybe go to the beach one day, because I'm over here in Florida.
Definitely do that.
So, yeah.
Yes, do that.
Yeah, and it's like, this is like the perfect time of year to go to the beach too here in Florida because it's not too hot and it's getting less and less crowded because of the summer crowds going away.
There's not still tons of people going because beaches were closed for a while because of COVID. People are just giving up.
Gosh, so are you still in Utah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure you've heard all the news about, Florida and how they've barely treated this whole pandemic seriously and all that stuff. So yeah, beaches. Yeah, okay. But I mean, for I want to say near the end of May is when especially beaches started opening back up. So since May, people have been treating it pretty much the same. And it's and here I am freaking out over here, just oh my God, we can't go anywhere. And, I'm starting to now just be comfortable going out to restaurants, wearing a mask and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been an interesting year for sure.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And so you said Utah's
It's
pretty
always
much the
been an
same?
interesting year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very conservative state.
Oh, yep.
And since COVID has been turned into a political thing, I feel like that kind
Oh
of
my
speaks for itself.
gosh, right. It's what I find crazy. So I work in healthcare. That's my day job.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's crazy that I know healthcare professionals that are like nurses, doctors that are should know better, that are like, "Oh, it's no worse than the flu." And all then I'm just like, "Oh my god." Or I'm not wearing a mask when I go outside. I'm like, "Oh god, just why?" It's scary when even the healthcare professionals are blowing this off like it's nothing.
Yeah, it's true. That doesn't help anything.
Oh man. So it's been an interesting year. So what have you been doing during this time? Anything interesting, fun, exciting? I know you've been streaming a lot more. Didn't you make partner this year, or was that last year?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been a crazy year. Yeah, COVID allowed me to be able to stream a lot more since I didn't have to go to conventions all the time. Um, and so yeah, I was able to make Twitch partner. I joined
Nice.
the esports team Fade to Karma. Um, Currently working on a big tournament with them that we just announced yesterday, so that's
Oh,
exciting.
I saw that.
MTG
Yeah.
tournament. So I'm really excited for that. And I kind of started a new job. It was basically my old job merged into a much more responsibility job. So
Is that a good thing?
I work as a paralegal,
Oh, okay.
and my
Awesome.
law firm merged with a big law firm. So
So is that a good thing?
it's a good thing, yes.
Okay. Okay, good.
Except it means I'm busy all the time and have less time for streaming now. So I went from being able to stream a lot to hardly at all. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure that out.
I know what you mean. I kind of took the opposite. Like last year, I was in a managerial position, got a working from home position with less responsibilities, but there's still times where I'm working from home but working more, as it feels
Yeah.
like. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
but at least I don't have to manage people. That was not that I hated it, but there were definitely those times where it's like, I'm 34, right? And I've had to manage some people that are much older than me, and I'm like, people that are like in their 50s and stuff, and I'm all like, why am I having to tell you how to treat people with respect and all that stuff? It's like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be telling
Yeah.
you that stuff. So it was always awkward to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I'm glad I've never really had to do managerial stuff like that.
oh, I
I would go crazy.
there was, it's not all bad. It's just it's, you can't get away from the drama though. Like seriously, no matter what kind of job or position you have, there's always drama, and it's like you think you're out of high school, but you're not. You're never out of high school. There's always those stupid cliques and factions and corporate environments, and just
I
like
think that's just humanity.
right. I'm sure maybe in the legal world there's stuff like that too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what is a paralegal exactly? Like, what do you do? And not trying to like get any divulging any information or anything, but what's like the general, because I don't want any like, private information or anything like that. But
yeah.
so what is it?
So I basically do whatever the attorney tells me to.
Okay.
I know that's like really vague, but so I'll draft legal documents, I'll meet with clients, client correspondence, stuff like that. Our specialty is estate planning, business planning, real estate. So more of the transactional side of law. The only time we do deal with the courts for like guardianships and occasional like other those particular areas, litigious things. But in general, I mostly just sit at a computer typing things all day.
So is it you're having to type up, you said legal documents, what kind of studying is involved with that? And before you answer that, sorry for any listeners, viewers. It's my listeners know that I like asking people about their jobs, and especially
no
like a
worries.
paralegal. I know nothing about what it is, and so I'm genuinely curious. Like, what is it? What does that mean? You're having to draft legal documents, and is it you're having to study a lot of the laws in the county or the state or?
Yeah, so I went to college I initially planned on going to law school, And to get into law school, you just have to have a bachelor's degree in literally anything. You could like major in medieval studies, and as long as you have a bachelor's degree and you pass like the LSAT and everything, get accepted to law school, you can go to law school. And the school I went to, they only had one pre-law program, and it was tied to the political science program. And so I majored in political science with an emphasis in pre-law, and I minored in film theory because I needed, something to keep me sane in college.
Oh yeah.
And so you don't really need, it depends. Like you can go to school for like just to become a paralegal and get a paralegal certificate, but it's not required. Because I've been doing this for 10 years and I learned everything on the job, just from the attorney that I was working under. And so, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to do legal research and look up new or old laws for whatever it is that you're drafting or working on for a client case. But when I say I prepare legal documents, generally that means I'm making like a will or a trust for a client, or I'm making them powers of attorney, or I'm preparing a deed for them to transfer property somewhere. Or I'm setting up their limited liability company and filing that paperwork with the state. So it's a wide variety thing. Or maybe I'm drafting what are called pleadings for the court. So that's just the generic term of documents that are sent to the court. So literally an entire gambit of things.
So with a paralegal, there's no expectation of, and maybe it depends on what kind of law firm, of having to go to court or anything like that, or?
I mean, each law firm is different. A lot of new attorneys will start out just working as paralegals before they're brought on as an associate, just so that they can kind of get that legal know-how and everything, because you generally don't learn a lot of these things even in law school, from what I'm told. A lot of it is just on-the-job training and studying after the fact. And again, there are programs like where you can get a paralegal certificate where it'll teach you generic things that paralegals need to know.
Yeah.
But it's not required, and each state is different. So it's all over the place. So like for me, because I'd been working under an attorney for 10 plus years, that qualifies me as a paralegal. So I don't necessarily have to get a certificate.
Oh, okay, cool.
But for others, they like if they're just to be hired on immediately by the firm, they might require that certificate. So it's all over the place.
So is that something you have a passion in law or legal?
I used to.
Used to?
Now I like entertainment a lot more.
Oh, what happened with that? What happened with you not being into legal? Is it a lot of the bureaucracy that's involved, or?
It's just not fun. It's monotonous, and when like I'm a very creative person. Like I can be an analytical person, logical thinker, all that stuff. But it's not what I enjoy. I enjoy making things. I enjoy entertaining people, and I can't do that in the law.
Okay, there's nothing that you'd be able to do in the law field that would be similar to that, or, and like I said, this comes from someone who knows.
As an entertainer, not like as a public figure entertainer. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I could get into like entertainment law, but I don't want to.
Yeah, and sorry for if these sound dumb. It's like this has come from someone who knows nothing except like, the lawyer, like, oh yeah, trial lawyers and stuff, and that's about my extent of what lawyers and legal firms do. That's what you primarily
see like on TV and movies and stuff. And there's a bunch of those at the law firm, but that's not fully what we do. So the type of work that I do, we stay outside of the courts primarily.
Okay.
So it's like drafting contracts and stuff like that.
So is it working with a lot of banks and customers then, or companies?
It's individuals and businesses.
Okay. Interesting. It's cool. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just like, okay. I mean,
it's different. It's probably sounds a lot more interesting than it is. Maybe it sounds really not interesting, and it's not. So.
Well, I can only imagine.
I mean, there's definitely interesting stories.
I'm sure. It's when you said you draft up like law documents or legal documents, something like that. I can only imagine it I wonder if it's similar to, so I'm in IT, I do healthcare IT, and there's sometimes I got to write up, white page documents on how stuff works and all that stuff. And I have to do a lot of the technical jargon speak that no one really cares about, but you got to make it look nice.
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine it's something similar to that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that, or legalese as we call it.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. So you also do cosplay. And how long have you been doing that for now?
Since 2013, so 7 years?
7 years?
7 years.
Jeez. Gosh.
I know. Where does time go?
Right? Especially this year. I can't even believe it's going to be Christmas soon. Like October's pretty much done with. It's going to be Thanksgiving before we know it, and then Christmas, and I feel like I just put away my Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually getting married on December 20th.
Ooh, congrats.
Thank you. And it doesn't feel like it's like less than 2 months away.
Oh my gosh.
It's weird.
Well, congrats. Well, that's awesome. My wife and I just celebrated 10 years last year.
Nice.
We went to, thank you. We went to Vegas to renew our vows because when we first got married, we were broke. We didn't have any money. Both of our parents didn't want to help us put on a wedding or anything. So we went to the courthouse, and then we went to Vegas and did a wedding chapel over there and got what we wanted. She did want to get married by Elvis, and I told her, please, no, I don't want to do Elvis. Because I told her, we'll do Vegas, because she wanted to do Vegas and all that stuff, but please, no Elvis. I don't want to do Elvis. So
That's fair.
No, but that's awesome. Do you all have anything planned? Or, especially with this pandemic going on, how long have you all had that planned for now?
The details of the wedding, or just getting married?
Well, no, the details of the wedding. Are you going to actually have a wedding? Or
Yeah. So far, we're just waiting to hear any updates from the venue otherwise. So we're crossing our fingers that everything's going to go okay. It's going to be a small wedding.
Okay.
But it will be, the middle of December. So who knows?
Oh, God. Does it, and like I said, this is my ignorance of anything outside of Florida.
It snows here.
Yeah, it snows in
really
Utah.
cold
Yeah,
here.
I was about to say, yeah, it snows in Utah. But oh God, yeah, that is going to be cold. Are you two planning on a honeymoon right afterwards, or?
We were 2 years ago, when we first got engaged, we had purchased a cruise.
Oh man.
For our honeymoon to be 2 years later, because it was super cheap.
Oh
it
yeah,
was the first time you could buy, right? Yeah. But no, the cruise has been canceled. And so we'll have a honeymoon eventually when the world calms down a little bit, when, it's not a death sentence to potentially go on a cruise ship, and when we can actually be let off onto islands and explore and have a lovely, relaxed time.
It's funny you mention that, because my wife and I were literally just talking about vacations and all that stuff, and I mentioned yeah, let's go on a cruise pretty soon, and she's like, there's a pandemic. I'm like, oh shit, you're right. It's frustrating because I forget about that stuff, because I'm so used to not going anywhere, especially this year, but I also have to travel a lot for work, but I haven't been able to travel, so I'm kind of going a little stir crazy, just staying home all the time.
Makes sense.
But well, congrats on getting married. That's awesome. Hope you two make it. It's I guess some of
I
the
think we will.
best advice I can give is God, just you are going to get into fights and all that stuff, and just do your best to, no matter how much you want to kill the other person, just sit and listen, because it can be so frustrating.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it's her father gave me the advice of don't go to bed angry. It's probably the best piece of advice.
That seems like good advice.
Yeah. But so getting back to cosplay, you've been doing it for about 7 years. Well, no, it's fine. It's like I said, this podcast talk about whatever pops up. So getting back to cosplay, what got you into cosplay? What got you started in it?
It's always a hard question for me to answer, even though it's like what should be a simple answer.
Mm-hmm.
The first Salt Lake Comic-Con happened in 2013, and I had been dying to go to a Comic-Con for ages. I just hadn't had an opportunity until then.
Yeah.
And so as soon as it was announced, I was like, I am going to that convention. And I knew that people like dressed up in cosplay and stuff, but I'd never done it before. And I was like, and I'm going in cosplay. And I just did.
What did you dress up
my
as?
first cosplay was Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII.
Nice, nice.
Yes, she was my favorite. And I also wore
game.
Lara Croft, classic Lara Croft from like the Game Boy game.
Nice.
And I had like the most amazing time ever. And once you do it once, you're addicted.
Oh,
and
it
you have to
is.
do more and more and more and more and more.
So when you started getting into cosplay, were you making your own materials at first, or were you buying it online?
A little bit, actually. So my Tifa Lockhart cosplay, I purchased from I don't even know where, online. But I wasn't happy with how some of the pieces looked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I crafted like a new elbow thing. I can't think of the right word. And just like a few other just like minor details.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a conglomeration of taking the costume that I purchased and then modifying it to look a little bit better.
That's cool. So one of the questions that I always have for cosplayers, and I remember asking this to Zainade when she was on Zbex, and is the thing that fascinates me with cosplay is, so let's say you see a character you like, whatever. How do you decide the materials that you're going to use? Like use Tifa Lockhart, for instance, right? Like, how do you, like, especially if you're going to make it yourself, how do you decide, like, what materials or clothes or just what's your process on that? That always fascinates me.
I mean, you just kind of have to break it down piece by piece. So if we're talking Tifa Lockhart, we'll take her classic outfit, for example. The top is just, a white kind of crop top. Top. That could be any material from polyester to cotton to whatever. And then her suspenders, they're kind of like a leatherishy, latexy material, so you just gotta find something of that nature. And then her gloves, it's basically leather pleather. And then her armor, you can work with multiple materials, and so it kind of depends on what you are more comfortable working with. So my go-to these days is EVA foam for things.
What's that again?
EVA foam.
EVA foam?
Mm-hmm. It's just a type of foam.
Okay. Never heard of it before.
Interesting. Yeah. I think a lot of cosplayers still use Warbler, so you've probably heard of that, or maybe you haven't heard of any of that.
No, you're talking to someone like
giant pieces from my closet if you want to see what they look like.
Because, like you said, I know I've had Zainade on. I've had Air Bubbles, Ariel.
Oh yeah.
And I've had her on before, and they've explained their whole process. But to me, it's like, I don't know. It's like I understand how they do, but I'm like, I don't even know where to begin with it.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, it just kind of takes looking at each individual piece, individually, and just deciding what would make the most sense to do it. Foam is really, once you understand how to work with it, it's really easy, and you can do all sorts of different things with it, whether it's really thin pieces or giant chonky pieces like World of Warcraft armor. You can even make fabric looking pieces with a lot of foam. So it's really versatile. Like I've made belts out of foam. There's a lot of people who've made corsets out of foam.
Interesting.
Like material looking, like leather looking corsets.
Like they look real almost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Does that have a lot to do with the way they cut it and paint it, or mold it or something, or?
Yeah. So it's mostly just getting the right angles and everything with cutting and gluing it all together. And then of course painting is huge. And then there's just different effects that you can also add to the foam to make it look like different materials, like whether you want it to look like leather, whether you want it to look like metal, or whatever you want it to look like.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Like you mentioned like a corset, and I'm, because you see cosplays where they're wearing a corset or something, and now you're saying, oh, that could be fake, essentially, could be foam.
I mean, a corset is a corset. It's just this corset, instead of having boning and stuff, is all made out of foam.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. All right. So what when you're trying to come up with a cosplay, what attracts you to wanting to become not become, but start a new cosplay? Like what character, or just from anything, whether from Magic or WoW or anything?
It's one of two things. It's either I really connect with that character and really like that character. What is a character? Or I really like the look of the costume. It's generally the prior that I really like the character. And those are the ones that I'll put off other projects to do. Like there's like the projects that like I should do, and then there's like, ooh, shiny, that's my favorite, I'm gonna do that now. So
what have been some of your favorite cosplays you've done?
All of them.
You don't have like an absolute favorite or anything? Or
I like all of them for different reasons, just because they're all just fun to be in for different reasons. So like my Vegito, it was my first armor project, and it was just an absolute blast to wear, just because I could be Prince Vegeta, just walking around.
You did a Vegeta one?
I did, yes.
Where can people? Are these all on your Instagram? Or a lot of
they're all on my Instagram.
Okay.
You'll probably have to scroll through to find some of them, but
yeah, I'm gonna start because I need to see this Vegeta. Oh, I see. What is this, like a Bulma one that you did?
Yeah, I've done a lot of Dragon Ball Z characters because I love Dragon Ball Z. And I also love my Cersei Lannister costume, just because, again, when I'm wearing that one, I can walk around a convention with a wine glass and just pretend that I'm better than other people.
That's awesome.
Great. So it's the play part of the cosplay that makes all of these costumes so much more fun. Oh,
I'm looking at your Vegeta one. When you posted, says 30 weeks ago, holding a Dragon Ball on it. That's awesome.
I don't even know if that was one of the better pictures of it, but it was full Saiyan armor. Again, it was my first armor build. It's my first time working with what's considered Worbla, which is a thermomorphic plastic. So it's a lot different than foam because it's actually plastic, not foam.
Oh, that's weird.
But it's every time I look at it these days, I just cringe. But I was proud of it. My first armor build.
No, that's awesome. Do you like? So I have to ask. You mentioned Dragon Ball Z. Do you like One Piece at all?
I haven't ever seen One Piece.
So, well,
I know about it, and I know I need to watch it.
So
everyone tells me.
I've only watched a little bit of the anime, but I've read all the manga. I actually spent like about 2.5, almost 3 months reading the entire manga. Nice. Just a couple months ago, and my God, it's so good. Oh my, like I can't say for the anime because I feel like watching the anime would take way longer than reading the manga and all that stuff.
Probably.
But if you ever decide to, let me know. I've got a good website that the manga episodes fell off the truck type thing, and no, it's a legit website and all that, but it's holy crap, that's a story that will make you freaking blubber and cry and just it's so good. It's because I've been reading the latest Dragon Ball Super manga. Have you been reading any of that?
I generally don't read manga. I just watch the anime.
I used to be like that too, but what changed for me was the lack of time to sit down and really watch episodes and all that. And manga takes me, 10, 15 minutes, not even sometimes. So to me, that's a lot quicker. So no, I won't spoil anything then. What's going on with the because the Dragon Ball Super manga has gone way past when the show ended and all
I
that now.
imagine.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
it'll be really interesting if they bring the anime back, though. It's
Hopefully.
some cool stuff. But so I'm seeing some of these cosplays. These are pretty cool. I like this Nahiri one that you did.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of your magic ones and all that. I guess I just haven't seen like that far back though. It's oh my god, you did a Star Trek one? Hell yes. What's your favorite Star Trek?
I really only watched TNG.
That's
So
one of the best ones.
that's my favorite.
Yeah,
by default.
It's one of the best ones. I mean,
I was actually hired by Creation Entertainment to be a Ferengi for one of their conventions a couple years ago.
Oh.
So if you continue scrolling through, you'll probably see some Ferengi pictures.
oh my gosh, I gotta see that. That's awesome.
It was great.
Oh my gosh, I love the Ferengi. It's if you ever decide to watch another Star Trek series, you would need to watch Deep Space Nine because
Deep
there's
Space Nine. That's where Quark is.
yeah,
So,
Quark
I know
is the
everyone
best.
tell me.
Yeah, because there's so many Ferengi in that one, and the Ferengi culture is great in that one. I'm gonna have to try to find that Quark one. I swear, it's weird. I don't know if you get this a lot, but like I see your Captain Marvel, and it's just the way like the angle of your face. I swear, you almost look like Zenaid in some angles.
I've noticed that the effects I do look similar in certain angles. I think it's the mouth structure.
Yeah, because it's weird. I saw that. I see this Captain Marvel one. I'm like, had to do a double take on that one. That's cool. So, oh, that's awesome. I've always been fascinated with cosplay. I especially remember going to cons like right before 2010, and when cosplay was not really a thing. Like people would still dress
yeah.
up, but there wasn't,
It was
a whole
lot smaller.
lot smaller, and there wasn't a whole industry behind it. So I remember, like, I never got into it. I've never been that into it, but I've always been fascinated by the people who do it. And just listening to how these people build their costumes, it's insane. Like how some of
It
them
takes a lot of work and effort and
Oh,
learning.
yeah.
There's always learning.
Do you feel getting into cosplay nowadays is easier for people since there's so many places you can just buy outfits for your favorite character?
I would say it depends on what their motivations are to getting into cosplay. If it's just to whether just buy or make a costume, sure, it's a lot easier. There's tutorials everywhere on every possible thing that you could think of how to build costumes. There's easy to find material sites. There's things that are available now that just weren't available like even like 3 years ago.
Oh, like what?
But as far as getting into like professional cosplay, especially now that cons are
Oh yeah, that's
not
right. That's a thing.
happening.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder.
So when you talk about professional cosplay, is that meaning more of when a convention or a company hires you to dress up as a character? Is that what's considered professional?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So you're saying that's even harder to get into nowadays?
Right. That's because there's so many cosplayers. It's a lot harder to get noticed. Conventions, when they were still happening, were less and less likely to bring out cosplayers, or let alone pay to bring them out. And companies just want to hire people for free promotional work versus compensating them.
Oh, the
So
exposure
it just
bucks?
gets harder
Oh,
and harder.
you
Yes,
don't want those
exposure.
you don't want those exposure bucks? Come on.
Oh yes, they're so useful.
Right.
I mean, they
Gosh.
can be in certain circumstances, but
Yeah, like if I would assume, or I would guess that, say, if they wanted to have you come to, what's the biggest one, San Diego Comic-Con and all that, like be in stage for however many people, maybe that would be worth it, would it?
maybe, yeah.
But I don't know. It's it's yeah, it really does seem like the market is flooded, at least for it. I sort of noticed the same thing when it comes to like even Magic Twitch streaming. Twitch streaming. There's
a lot
so
of
many
Twitch
people.
streamers, yeah.
Oh my god, I can't even keep up with any of them. Like who they all are and all that stuff. It's insane. I've been doing content creation for like 4, almost 5 years now, and just even that, like not even counting streaming, just like podcasting, YouTube and all that, it's
Right.
blown up like insanely.
Oh, absolutely.
So speaking of Magic here, we'll get into Magic now, folks. I mean, I do a podcast about it, but so I'll ask the general questions. You know, how long have you been playing Magic? You know, what got you started in it and all that?
Yeah. So I've been playing for about a year and a half.
Oh,
So not very
nice.
long. And I'd heard about Magic like before then, you know, friends that had played it and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I hadn't ever really gotten into it. But then my one friend, Alkali Lake, who's also a streamer and my cosplay waifu, as I like to call her, she's primarily a Hearthstone streamer. And she kept telling me, she's like, you need to play Magic. You need to play Magic. Like, you will love it. Because, like, I play lots of D&D, and so I was familiar with Wizards of the Coast stuff,
nice.
like, through that. And she's like, you just need to play it. Just do it. And she did, like, a sponsored stream for Arena, and so I downloaded the game at that point. And then I finally listened to her and started playing it, and she was right. I love it.
Oh, nice. So do you
So
own?
that's how I got into it.
Oh, nice.
Just kind of started it.
Hey, that's the one good thing about Arena is it has brought so many people into the fold where it's. I mean, before Magic Arena, we had Magic Online, and that client is just trash, pretty much. It's bad.
Stuck in the 90s?
I would say the 80s. Dang. No, but yeah, the
Okay.
990s pretty much. But it's no, I love Arena as much as I hate it a lot of times. I love it at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship we have. Do you have any now has that prompted you to get physical Magic cards or anything?
I'm slowly, very, very slowly building my Magic card collection.
Ooh, nice.
I've got boxes from several sets now, but I don't have like any cohesive decks. I haven't organized my cards even remotely. I haven't played with them. They're just... I like opening packs.
Oh no, it's fun.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Oh no, that's one of the fun things. One of my favorite formats, limited, like doing booster draft and sealed. That's some of my favorites. But what you need to do is, I'm sure so many people have told you, get a commander deck. And
I've got a couple of the pre-made ones that you can buy.
those are pretty
but I
decent.
haven't
Those are pretty
played
decent
them.
out of the box. Yeah. So if you ever do get them open or sleeve them up, I need to have you on stream one night and play some commander, because I've got pre-cons, and I've got a you know Pixie Kitten, and she'd love to come on and play, and we just have a blast. We're so laid back with it. We call ourselves professional Magic players, aka we barely know what we're doing.
Yeah, I actually played Brawl, aka Commander, for the first time like a week ago versus Lady Lavinius. So
That's not the same.
now that I've finally played it, I love the format. So
Brawl
I'm so down.
Brawl can be fun. And I shouldn't downplay it. It can be fun, but when you're doing multiplayer Commander and people are just doing the most funniest shenanigans, ridiculous things, and especially when they bring out these old ass cards from the 90s and all that stuff that just have these crazy interactions, you're like, I lose, I guess. But it's all fun though. But so you mentioned D&D. Sorry, I got to switch from Magic to D&D, folks.
You're good.
So D&D, I love D&D. So how long have you been playing that? Or yes,
It has a D20 on it.
yes. So how long have you been playing D&D, and are you playing any D&D games right now?
I've been playing D&D since I think about 2015.
Yeah, I think that was 5th edition just came out, or a year after, something
Something
that.
like that. So 2015, 2016. I don't remember exactly when. I do have another Twitch channel for my D&D party, but we haven't really played since COVID. But we're planning on starting again soon.
Ooh. So it's a separate Twitch channel away from your main one? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, give me that link, because I don't think I've seen that before from you, because I'd love to.
Yeah, probably because I haven't talked about it in like a year. It's called the General Good, because we have a guild called General Good because we generally do good, just generally. But the Twitch name General Good was taken, so we had to be the General Good. But it's fine. It's fine.
So, do you DM that, or are you a player?
No, I'm a player.
Okay.
For that particular campaign that we had going, we each had multiple characters, and we all belonged to a guild hall. And depending on like the adventure, the mini campaign that was going on, we could choose like which character went out on that quest. And
that's cool.
It wasn't like constantly the same character like start to finish. Like if I wanted to be Perry Trendyback, then I could be Perry for just a little bit. And then if I wanted to be Drusilla Drakovovich, who is a assassin rogue, I could be her for a little bit. And then we all had like a bunch of different characters.
That's awesome.
And it made it a little bit more fun. I mean, not that D&D isn't ever not fun, but
oh yeah, no, it just
made it even better.
That's awesome. I like the voices you do. I
get into the role playing part. We definitely spend a lot more time role playing than actually literally anything else.
As a DM, because I'm a forever DM, and I very rarely get to play. And as a DM, when I have like my players just role playing amongst themselves, that's probably my favorite thing ever. Just sitting back and like, you guys are playing the game right now. I don't have to do much, but that's one of the things I love with D&D. As a DM, one of the things that I love is you players, no matter what thing I try to plan for, right? It could be what I think is going to be the hardest encounter ever. You all are going to figure out some way to be like, oh, well, we just do this and they're dead.
We're going to make this our pet butterfly, and we're just going to go hang out with this butterfly and see where that takes us instead. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm currently doing a little campaign. Everybody keeps telling me that I should start streaming D&D, but I'm like, I don't know if I have like performance anxiety with it, because playing Magic, doing podcasts live and all that stuff, yeah, no problem. Being a DM in front of an audience, I'm like, oh god, I don't know if I can do it.
That's fair.
And it's because
DM loves it.
To me, it feels like it'd be. I feel like I'd have to be way more entertaining in front of an audience than I would be just with my players. Because with my players, I'm like, not that I'm not entertaining, or at least I hope that I'm entertaining and all that. It's just, just like most games that you play, there's times where, oh no, we got to spend 5-10 minutes looking up a stupid rule because someone wants to do this weird ass interaction. And as a DM, you're like, what? And then you're like, gotta look up rules or look through the player's handbook. And I'm afraid of that kind of stuff because that stuff always kind of happens. And I don't want to slow it down and have people get bored. You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
I think that's why in things like Critical Role and Acquisitions Incorporated, they just like, here's this new rule instead, so that they don't have to take the time to do all the rule looking up, because it just bogs it down.
Yeah, I've definitely done like the rule of cool type things where it's like, yeah, sure, that happens, but it all depends on what they're trying to do. Obviously, like if one of my players is going to try to purposely break the game, I'm like, no. No. Not that really happens, but so I've been doing a game privately every other Monday with Pixie Kitten, with I don't know if you know MTG Young Mage or Young Rhino, and his father and his sister. And they're like all brand new to D&D, and we had a great session the other night, or actually last night, right? Yeah, because today's Tuesday. I totally know what day it is. And so they learned some consequences of just like where they can't just treat it like a video game, pretty much, where they were trying to get into a shop that was closed, and the store owner was like, sorry, we're closed, come tomorrow. And then they just barge in through the door anyway. And I'm just like, all right, roll initiative. They're like, what? Why? I'm like, you're breaking in?
Breaking into someone's the store.
they're gonna protect their stuff. And it was funny. They were just all like, some of them were mad, like, this shouldn't happen. It's like, and then I'm like, all right, well, 15 guards show up because they start yelling for, help. And
Yep.
and that's
you learn really quickly in D&D. Well, generally, in D&D, that you can't upset the order of things.
Right. Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah, because
like in cities and whatnot.
Yeah, your actions will have consequences.
Yes.
It's something always very important. So what's some of your favorite classes in D&D?
Probably Rogue and Druid.
Ooh, nice. Druids are fun.
They're two of the most versatile.
They really are.
And they both can be ridiculously OP, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
But with like Druids, I like the option for Wild Shape. And then Rogues, just the versatility and what you can do with the character is always fun.
Oh yeah, I'm a player in one game, and I built a Echo Knight fighter with a couple levels into Rogue. And so are you familiar with the Echo Knight fighter from the Critical Role class? So it is look it up because it came out of Matt Mercer's book, the Wildemount book. Probably my favorite fighter class. So as the fighter, you summon a shadow of yourself, and this shadow can pretty much act for you, but it only has one hit point, right? So as soon as it gets hit, it dies, but you can essentially send your shadow up ahead to fight the enemies, and it does all the same actions that you would do. So
you could, and with a couple levels of Rogue, you could get that sneak attack in.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly why I chose it. So I get in there, and I'm dual wielding too. So it's like I'm doing at least 3 attacks per round.
Oh my god.
And it's so much fun. But as soon as they kill that shadow, I'm just like, oh no, because I'm more of a dexterity based fighter instead of strength, and so I'm like, oh no, I have like no health, I'm dead.
Yeah, well, makes sense.
Oh, but look at it, it's so much fun. That's my favorite fighter class. But yeah, druids are very complicated in my experience. They can be, man. I guess it depends on what circle they choose too. But they're so much fun. My oldest daughter loves playing a druid. She loves it. She I
enjoy it, and I like turning into a giant spider.
Ooh.
It's like one of the best things you can turn into. That or a direwolf.
Those are fun. I am very partial to bards. I really like bards in this game.
Okay.
And more because I like being a support class if I'm going to be playing. Cause just the amount of buffs they can give out, and they don't die instantly like they would in older editions. They're actually good and useful, but I have this character idea for a bard that I want to play one day. Is I want to make a kobold bard that, like all his life been told he can't sing or dance or anything, but he's going to try anyway. He's going to do it, even though he's really bad at it, but he's going to keep trying. Just like he has the dream to do it.
I like it. That should be cool.
So how long have you been doing this D&D stream for? I mean, I know you said during the pandemic it's kind of stopped, but...
We've had it for probably 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
My fiance still DMs games for this other campaign that he's doing. I think that happens every Tuesday and occasionally on Fridays. So like the channel's still active. It's just our campaign hasn't happened in a while.
Okay. And have you worked with Wizards at all or anything with that?
No, not yet. I probably should reach out to them once we start getting things going again.
Right. It's I've been trying to get in a little bit on Wizards D&D side, but it's kind of hard when I don't do a whole lot of D&D content and all that. It's, plenty of Magic stuff. So when that D&D Magic set comes out, I'll be like banging at their door.
I am so stoked.
Oh my god!
And Innistrad and everything, like
Innistrad,
however.
Right.
But I'm so excited.
The D&D set, I'm so excited.
And a Sararak card. Just give me a Sararak. I don't care what it does.
Oh yeah.
I want it.
I want it, at least there's got to be something Tiamat related. Please let there be something Tiamat.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It can be the most broken card. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
I want it though.
make it and then ban it in standard right away. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine with that.
Oh man, yeah, I'm so excited for that set. It's funny because
I had it would be something like
Kenrith?
Like Kenrith's is not Kenrith's transformation.
It could well, yeah, I guess it could be. Yeah, because of the 5 dragon heads and all that. Yeah.
Different mana costs.
That'd be really interesting.
I'm just tuning cards for Magic. It's cool.
No, that'd be awesome. So like the red head could be like a lightning bolt, does 3 damage to any target. The blue one draws you cards, because why not? You know?
Yeah.
The green one has it fight something.
Yeah.
White gives life. Black. Oh, what could black do?
Return something from the graveyard or kill something. Or sacrifice a creature.
Yeah, sacrifice a creature. Yeah, that sacrifice a creature and I don't know, gain life or something. I don't know. Or return something from the graveyard. I like that. It doesn't seem too busted. Yeah, gain life. It's about it. Or maybe put a counter on a creature. Something.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I'm super stoked about that. I'm pretty excited about all the sets next year. The Kaldheim, the Strixhaven. That one's gonna be fun.
That one's like the kind of wizard schooly thing one, right?
Yeah, and I hope they take some inspiration from like the wizard schools of Skyrim or The Witcher.
Ooh, that could be good.
That'd be really cool. I mean, I know everybody says Harry Potter, but I'm like, no, come on. Let it be something cooler like Skyrim or The Witcher or something. or even World of Warcraft, take inspiration from that.
Yeah. Well, I think Hearthstone actually came out with, Scholomance earlier this year?
I think
which
so.
Is their version
I don't...
of wizardy school thing. So
I stopped following Hearthstone a while ago. Like
I haven't played Hearthstone in a year. I have lots of friends who do.
Yeah. Oh, I played the crap out of it. Like when it first came out, I was in the beta and I freaking loved it. It was so good. Then somewhere around I got tired of all the random mechanics of it. Just stuff randomly happening. It just kind of killed it for me.
Gotcha.
But I have played a little bit of their, was it called, the Battlegrounds or something? That's pretty fun. Just like casually playing that.
Tried it.
It's pretty fun.
I've heard it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I probably would do better if I understood a lot more of the cards and all that stuff, but it's fun. You just pick a creature to come onto your field and then it just sort of automatically does everything for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you actually start streaming on Twitch, except for this current channel that you made partner with? When did you start doing that?
I've been streaming since 2017,
okay.
June/July of 2017. So 3 years.
Okay.
And I started out just I first started out only streaming like on my phone. Because that was like right when Twitch came out with the mobile app.
Okay.
So that was like my only thing to do at the time because I didn't have a PlayStation or a console that could stream. I didn't have a computer that could handle streaming. So that was my only option. So I mostly just did IRL streams and like cosplay construction streams through my phone.
That's cool.
And then I eventually got a PlayStation 4 finally. And so I started streaming like Overwatch and Skyrim and things like that through that. And then with the help of my community, I was able to get a very nice setup as I have now. And so I was able to properly stream.
So what's that's awesome. That's awesome. So what's some advice you could give to some people who are, maybe wanting to make that Twitch partner or try to build a community or anything like that?
Yeah, just keep trucking along. Like it's a long journey. And it's difficult to build that community and to get people to notice you and want to stick around. It takes, I know this is what literally everyone says, but it takes consistency and time over basically anything else. That people need to know when you're live and you need to be streaming often.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you have to be entertaining. If you're not entertaining, People aren't like, people don't watch the infomercial channels like on TV unless
Yeah.
they're like stoned and not even realizing they're watching them. So
Yeah, that the entertaining part is probably important as well too, because it's like if I'm streaming Magic, y'all are definitely not coming to watch me for like the insane plays and all that stuff. It's like I'm nowhere near that good or anything.
I know those feels.
But yeah. So you've been doing it for about 3 years, and when was it that you started to notice when you? I don't want to say like made it, but maybe start noticing you had a group of people behind you that, cared about you and like your community essentially.
So I come from a different starting point than a lot of streamers because I'd been doing cosplay since 2013. And since I'd been doing it professionally since 2015, I'd had kind of that base of people behind me that I could take over to Twitch. But just because you have a bunch of followers on Instagram and whatnot doesn't mean that all those people are going to follow you to Twitch. But I have my core group of people, and so that helped a lot. But as far as like noticing that I was actually starting to get somewhere in Twitch finally, that probably happened around January of this year.
Okay.
Just because that's when I noticed that my consistency in streaming with Magic, specifically just sticking to one game and having a consistent schedule and everything, that it was really starting to ramp up and take off at that point.
So besides the consistency and staying with one game, was there anything else that changed back in January? Like that you started to notice it ramping up?
Nope. It was
just really
that
those?
was just really what it was. Is just me being consistent. And well, I mean, it's not just that. Like I actually actively started working on connecting with other Magic streamers. And that's the other thing that people tell you is network. And I feel like a lot of people misunderstand what networking actually is and what it entails. Like especially in the streaming world, it's building genuine friendships.
Yes,
with these
so
other
glad you
streamers
said that.
they actively like you and trust you if they send you their communities.
Yes.
And so it's building those connections. And so that takes a lot of time outside of your streaming time to do. And so I started focusing on that a lot. Because one, I also wanted more friends in Magic. But I noticed that all of those things combined was what really helped me start doing better.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's something I notice with a lot of people, especially starting out, and everybody can fall into that trap of wanting the bigger numbers and wanting to quote unquote make it and all that is. And when you're like, oh yeah, I'll network with you, I'll just shout you out and all that stuff. It's like, no, you need to try to actively build that trust and build those friendships. It's one big thing that I've noticed that's really important, not just in Magic community, but just anything.
Oh yeah, just anything in life.
Yeah,
like that's how you really get anywhere.
No, that's great. That's great. It's some really good advice too, because it's like I said, it's so easy to fall into that depression trap of numbers and all that stuff. And the other big thing that I tell people is you got to make sure you're having fun too, because if you're not having fun, it's there's
and
no
making
point.
friends helps with that.
Oh yes. There's times that I've noticed that I'm playing Arena, and my followers and viewers can actively tell I'm getting annoyed, because I'll be honest, there's just so many times playing Arena by myself is so boring, or I actively hate it because of just seeing literally the same deck over and over again. Or people going super slow, but I notice my mood shift dramatically. Like if one of you is like, hey, will you challenge me with this deck, or will you help me out? I'm like, yeah, sure. Awesome. Or playing EDH. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It helps out so much. And that's great. Some great advice there. So what's on the future for you? Any future plans on the horizon? Are you going to maybe try to take Twitch full time? Maybe?
I would love to, but financially it's just not viable right now. Even if I, could pull in all of the monies and stuff from Twitch, it's there's just too many real world expenses like healthcare that
right
are necessary, and paying a mortgage and all those things add up.
No, I just had Alias.
Difficult.
Oh yeah.
So I would like to someday though.
I just had Alias V on the podcast last week, and I was asking her the same thing because she made the jump to full time, and my question to her was like, I'd be so nervous and scared to like even want to jump into it because so let's say tomorrow, you or I, we make it big, right? We're making double the amount of money that we're making at our jobs, right? I don't think I'd still even quit my day job at that point because it's just the uncertainty of how unstable it all is,
Right. Yeah, that's part of the other thing is, streaming is unstable. Your income varies literally month to month.
And you're only getting paid once a month too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then because you don't have tons of deductions, your taxes are absurd.
Yeah.
You have to set aside money for that. Well, if you're in the US, I mean, I don't know what it's like in other countries. And then again, if you are a person with pre-existing conditions like I am, then you need health insurance, which is not cheap, especially if you're having to buy it outside of like a work plan or something.
Oh yeah,
and then just the costs of living are not cheap.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even when you do have freaking health insurance, it's paying out the ass for it. It's like it frustrates me so much because I pay out the ass for health insurance right now at my job, and it's a really good plan and all that stuff. But it's like, oh hey, you need this tiny little operation, and then just a couple $1,000s. Like, oh yeah, sure, let me just pull it out of my ass.
All the money that you've already paid us, like that doesn't matter.
Right. Oh god. Yeah, I can't even imagine trying to go. But for the people who can do this full time, God, more power to them. It's just
a lot of them I think have not all of them, but a decent amount of them do have, whether it's their parents or a significant other that also can help take off some of that financial burden so that they can do that.
Especially
that's not all of them.
Oh
Some of them do it on their own. They are fantastic.
And it makes me wonder like if it's easier outside of the US to do that, right? Like in other countries like Canada or UK or wherever. Because
I have no idea.
Because like you said, it's the biggest thing would be health insurance, right? Where you'd have to buy some crappy ass plan paying probably even more out of pocket a month compared to what you're paying at your job. And oh no, little Timmy needs an operation. Well, there goes all my money I made this month on Twitch.
Right.
God, it sucks. It's scary. No, but that's good. So potentially full time, but there'd probably have to be a lot of stipulations if that were to happen, right?
Yeah. And I mean, and it wouldn't just be me streaming full time. Like I would go full content creation. So I do a lot more YouTube videos, which I haven't done in a while just because I haven't had time. I would do a lot more cosplay creation and stuff with that. I'd have more time to go to conventions again.
Right.
Should those ever happen again?
I hope so. Because especially Magic Fest. We were planning on going to Vegas this year, and
I was planning on going too. It was going to be my first Magic Fest.
Oh man, I've heard Vegas is the best. It's
Vegas is only a 5-hour drive from me, so I was.
Oh dang.
I was really excited, or an hour and a half flight, but it's the drive so.
Yeah, driving would be way easier, cheaper too, probably.
Especially with costumes.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh dang! I didn't even think of that. And plus, not having to get searched at TSA and have weird looks at you with all the Magic card decks that you have, as well too. Have you had that happen?
I hadn't thought about. So, because I've never traveled with Magic cards, right? But like I have business cards when I travel, and they always stop me and like I need to stop fidgeting.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Stop me and make me go through like my business cards and like just to make sure that it's not something weird because it always triggers the scanners.
Yeah.
Every single time. It drives me crazy. So I imagine with Magic cards it's probably similar.
Oh yeah. Especially when you have them in deck boxes and all that stuff, you get them. Yeah. Especially when you get that one suitcase.
It's just like a giant block of something.
Yeah, and just whatever case you decide to put them in, don't put them in a case with clothes or stuff that you have to neatly organize, because then you're going to be because TSA is just going to rifle through it all and like, oh, great, now I got to spend 15, 20 minutes trying to put it all back together. Like, oh, great.
Oh, yeah. I have had TSA ruin costumes before. It's
God.
It's unpleasant.
I think the worst thing...
bubble wrap each piece individually to help prevent that these days.
I think the worst thing that ever happened to me with TSA was... and actually, no, it wasn't TSA. It was flight check-in or baggage check-in or whatever. I was going up to Ohio for sort of like a pseudo job interview, and I had to bring, a nice suit and all that stuff. And for when I get to the hotel, it's freaking, my suit is soaking wet.
Oh no.
Oh, I was so pissed. Thank God the hotel had a really good iron and laundry service and all that stuff. But shit. But yeah, I can't even imagine like costumes and all that stuff. That's got to be a lot more freaking... Yeah, you can't exactly, I guess, take those to the dry cleaners, though.
No. That's why a lot of cosplayers will travel with heat guns and hot glue guns and everything else to fix a costume just in case.
Has that happened to you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
Almost always fixing costumes. So
we're hitting about an hour here, but I've got one more question here. What is the costume that's taking you the longest to put on? Like, because I have
to put on where?
Yeah, because to get prepped and ready and put on, because, and I only ask that because I've seen some costumes like people have where it's like that's taken a couple hours to put on or something, where it just insane amount of detail. Is there a cosplay that you've had that's taken you 1 to 2 hours to put on and get ready?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for any cosplay, for any con, just because of makeup and stuff, it always takes me 1 to 2 hours. But I mean, anything with body paint or prosthetics will always take at least double that. So the one that's taken me the longest is my Arkham Poison Ivy. And that's because we individually latex little latex vines all over my body, and that just takes a lot of time. And then you have to body paint over it. Then you have to do a little bit of detail work on the latex vines so that they stick out. Then you got to get the wig on, and just it takes a lot of time. So that
sounds miserable.
First time we did it, I think it took 6 hours.
Holy
I think we
crap!
Cut it down to 5 the second time.
Damn.
So,
oh my God, I'm sorry, that sounds miserable. That's
full body paint and prosthetics take a really long time. Like even the Ferengi that was put on me by professionals, it would still take at least an hour. But these are people who have
that's
know
their
how
job.
to put these the headpiece on, and they do it all the time, and it still takes them an hour.
Wow, so. Just freaking 6 hours. Like how many people were helping you do that?
Just one.
Oh, gee. Oh my gosh.
Makeup artist I hired.
And so when you finally get all that on, was it hot? Did it make you sweat or anything, or?
No. Well, I mean, the costume itself was just outside of the body paint and everything. It's just a shirt and some bottoms, some basically underwear.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cold costume, and body paint doesn't really warm you up.
Oh, okay. So,
I mean, the Ferengi got hot for sure.
Oh, I bet.
Especially on the head. But,
well, I guess one more question about the body paint. Does it get itchy or anything, or?
No, I mean, unless you're allergic to it, it doesn't. You don't really.
I don't know. I don't know. It's I want to get a tat.
It really depends on the body paint. There's probably some that would, but
I just feel myself getting uncomfortable. The times where I've done Halloween stuff, get stuff on my face or whatever. I'm so uncomfortable wearing that stuff, and just I can't imagine.
You get used to it.
God.
You just get used to the discomfort. You just accept that as long as you're in costume, that it's not going to be comfortable, and that's fine.
Yeah, more power to you. Holy crap, I couldn't do that. 6 hours. It kind of reminds me of when I used to watch a lot of the behind the scenes stuff of Lord of the Rings, like hearing how the hobbits would take, X amount of hours to get ready and all that stuff just for their feet and, their ears and stuff. I'd be like, God, I mean, I know they're getting paid so like really good money and all that stuff, but damn, can you imagine doing that every day? Like so your Poison Ivy costume, you said, could you imagine having to do that like every day for 6 months or something like that because you're on a shoot or a movie shoot or something?
I think you would just get used to it.
I guess, yeah, because I guess it'd be part of your sort of like routine, I guess, and then you're just thinking, oh, all the millions of dollars, that's not too bad.
I think the artists and everything, they love what they do. And so even if it takes like half the day to get in the costume, at the end of the day, they absolutely love acting and everything. So
I guess I can see, because I remember watching that behind the scenes, I guess I can see how people would also fall asleep during that too. Like if you literally
wake up at like 4 a.m. or something for some. Yeah. Like
imagine having to do that every day. Yeah, there'd be days I'd fall asleep, just like people just painting me or whatever. Just God, that's painful. So before we go, there is a little bit of a, I guess, more of a serious topic that I wanted to bring up. And this is more related to women in gaming. And I guess it's something that, and I guess just bringing up like harassment that women face, and especially with streaming, on gaming, and all that stuff, And I guess it's a dumb question to ask, have you experienced that? Because I think almost every woman's experienced that before.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have. It happens on more subtle ways these days than overt things. Like, I mean, I still get people coming into Twitch chats and just being trolls and whatnot.
Yeah.
As they do. But there's just a lot of also just subtle things of just people not really thinking that you belong in the game, but it's like saying it in kind of a very offhandish way.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
Stuff like that.
So how have you been able to deal with that? And are you currently experiencing a lot of it right now or the past couple months or?
Not so much lately. I ignore that kind of stuff anyway.
That's good.
It doesn't really faze me too much because I know I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do regardless of what people say.
That's a good outlook to have. It's a good attitude. What's some advice you could give to other female or non-binary people out there that might be experiencing, harassment or anything like that?
Just ignore the people. They are projecting their miserable life onto you, and you shouldn't take it personally, and just keep trucking on because you're awesome and the world is stacked against us, so we have to band together and fight against it.
Oh, it's good. It's good. The one thing that I have really liked what I've seen with the Magic community is the amount of women and non-binary streamers I've been seeing a lot more lately, because when I first started getting into Magic content, there weren't a whole lot of women in the content creation community and all that stuff. There was a few, like Megan Maria and then Aaron Campbell. It's probably like one or two others that I'm sorry I'm forgetting. As far as streamers went, the only prominent one I could remember at the time is Mrs. Mulligan. I don't think Gabby Spartz was streaming at the time yet. I can't remember if she was, but I don't know if you know Mrs. Mulligan or anything. She was one of the only prominent Magic Online streamers. This is way before Arena. But now when you look at the streaming page for Arena, there's so many now, and that's it gives me hope. It makes me happy to see that, because it's going to be a surprise to no one that Magic has been a good old boys club for a long ass time. I mean not just online, but go to LGS's and
yeah.
I don't know how it is in Utah, but Florida, we've got some stinker game stores. Oh my God. I've got some stories about
Florida game stores very often on purpose.
Yeah, it's I can't imagine what it's like in Utah, but it's not very good here. There's some good ones here, don't get me wrong. But like some like Cool Stuff Inc. is a store that just does not put up with anybody's bullshit. They'll like kick you out right on the spot and all that stuff. So, but yeah, it's I think the thing that gets me frustrated is when I see like mainly men saying like, oh, you know, women, they don't face a lot of harassment or like that stuff, or they just need to grow thick skin. I think what really opened my eyes as a male is when my wife, she doesn't stream or anything, but she's been getting into video games since the pandemic and likes doing a lot of voice chat, you know, just because she plays a lot of team games. And oh my God, it didn't like I always knew women face harassment, but when it's your significant other and she's like coming to you crying and yelling and screaming about people just being assholes, that's when it really hits you. You're like, oh shit. Like,
Oh yeah, voice comms in games are the worst. A lot of times I just won't even speak up because I used to play a lot of Overwatch. And it was always really bad.
oh, I can imagine.
Or I'll say like, "Good game, guys," at the end, and they're like, "Wait, that was a girl? There's a girl playing with us?" Like stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, this is why I don't talk.
Yeah, it's for anybody out there that, you know, doesn't believe women get harassed a lot, just talk to someone. Talk to a woman, you know, who plays video games and all that stuff. Like, yeah, it happens. Oh my gosh. And like I said, like I always knew it happened, but didn't realize the extent of it until it's someone that, you know, it's someone close to you and all that stuff.
And it can even just be simple things of like the language that people use, like in their streams or in the game that you're playing. So like over voice comms, if they're always just saying like, "Hey boys, let's do this. Good game, boys," you know, like not really acknowledging that there could be women playing with them, or just always assuming that your opponent in Magic is a man and not anything else.
Yeah, I've been trying so hard to get better at that. It's
I mean, I slip up with that too.
Yeah. I've been getting better at saying they for them, or I just say motherfucker. I'll look at this motherfucker, play this shit. But yeah, that's and it's like little things like that. But so I'm glad to what
I said, but it all builds up.
It does, and it's, you know, I try to be the best role model I can for my girls and all that stuff. I try, at least. I'm not perfect, but so I'm glad to hear that, you know, you got some good advice for handling harassers and all that stuff. It's unfortunate it happens, but I don't know. It sucks. It sucks, and it just pushes people away because it's, like I said, Magic has had this like bad rap. Like, as awesome as a game it is, like it's such a great game, it just still has a lot of bad rap with it. And D&D too. D&D's gotten better too, but God, it's like, and it's that old boys mentality of, you know, you want to protect this thing. You don't want other people to have it because, you know, nerd culture is so prevalent and all that stuff, but it's just the way of the times. It's there's always a little twinge of jealousy in me when I hear my girls, you know, openly talk about playing video games with their friends and all that stuff. And I hate that makes it sound bad or anything, because I'm happy for them, you know, like I'm so glad they can just openly talk, say like, you know, we play Fortnite, we play, you know, Among Us, we play whatever it is, Minecraft. But it's like, I just recall myself growing up. Like, if I told anyone I played video games, you get laughed at or beat up and all that stuff. Yeah, and it's
same. And I think that's why a lot of guys just don't realize that. Like, I think that's where this e-girl mentality came from, is that a lot of guys didn't realize that there actually were tons of girls and women who grew up and played these games that they did. It's just, we didn't talk about it because we would also get made fun of, and we didn't want that.
Yeah.
And we weren't welcome to
Oh yeah.
openly talk about these things, and so they think that we weren't there, but we really were.
And that's what I love with my kids' generation, where they're just so open about it, and just how no one just, at least from what I hear, they don't give each other shit about it. I mean, yeah, they may make fun of them. Oh, you're playing Fortnite and all that stuff, but
You're still playing Fortnite?
yeah. Oh, that's not the cool thing anymore, and all that stuff. But I mean, that's all the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I guess we'll wrap up things here. I just first want to thank you for coming on, taking time out of your night.
Yeah, thanks for having
To
me.
come on. Oh no, thank you. It was great chatting with you. We need to get together and play some EDH. You need to sleeve up, even if it's one of the pre-cons. I don't care. We need to have you on stream play some EDH. It'll be so much fun. I'll get Pixie involved, and I'll get I don't know. I can even get someone like Inkling Customs or anything if you know her, or maybe even Zebex. I don't think I've played Magic with her.
Ooh.
I can't remember. She's a good player though. Oh, you know who'd be really fun to have on? You know Skybills?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she's scary good. She's like,
Magic player.
oh my gosh. I remember when we played EDH with her one night, because we all said like, yeah, this will just be a casual game. And she's like, yeah, this is my casual deck. And just destroys us. I'm like, oh God, this is your definition of casual? She's like, yeah. And like, oh God. She's great though. I love her. She's great. So thank you. Like I said, thank you again for coming on. Where can people find you should they want to reach out? And also, your D&D channel as well too.
Yes. So I'm at Zabracus on all of the socials. Zabracus. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you feel like checking out my YouTube videos, that's Zab's Nerd House. But if you search Zabracus, you'll find me too. And then the other D&D channel that I have, or the D&D channel I have, is The General Good at Twitch or twitch.tv/The General Good.
General Good, not General Good. The
General Good. Yeah,
all right.
Unfortunately.
All right, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on. Really appreciate it. And
it was great to chat with you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I hope you have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Hey everybody, and thank you all for listening and watching this episode of Magic with Zuby. Hope you all really enjoyed the interview with Zab. I did, and we are going to try to do a game of EDH. And if you missed my episode last week with Alias V, we did do an EDH episode last Saturday on the 18th, I think, or 17th. Me and Pixie played some EDH with Alias, and it was so much fun. And her buddy Asaph as well there too. So it was great interview with Zab, and hope you all really enjoyed it and liked it. I wish we had more time with it. It's great talking with her. She's a really cool person. Hope you all enjoy it too. And thank you all for listening and watching. And as my cat is gonna just start getting in my face again as I try to finish up this podcast recording. So here, have a cat. Here, kitty. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. There you go, kitty. Bye. Bye, kitty.